Hello and welcome to Calm Wise Journey. Here we explore peace, wisdom, and calm moments.
There's a quiet moment that comes later in life, often sometime after 60, when memories begin to feel closer than plans. It's not because the future has vanished, but because the past has finally softened enough to be remembered without the sharp edges of pain. If you're between 60 and 75, you might notice this happening more and more. A smell, a melody, the way the afternoon light slants into a room, and suddenly, you're back somewhere else. Not trapped, just gently visiting. You remember mornings when the world felt slower, when coffee was brewed without a glance at the clock, when conversations unfolded without distraction, and silence wasn't uncomfortable, it was natural. Life back then wasn't necessarily easier, but it was simpler in ways we couldn't quite see while we were living it. Many people at this stage realize something profound. They were strong long before they ever thought to call themselves strong. You carried heavy responsibilities when you were young. You navigated immense uncertainty. You adapted time and again when change arrived without asking for permission, and yet, it's likely no one ever stopped to acknowledge just how much that required of you. Sometime between the ages of 62 and 70, something inside begins to release. The urgency that once drove you starts to fade. The need to constantly explain yourself dissolves. You no longer feel compelled to keep up with a world that moves faster than it listens. You begin to choose calm, not because you've given up, but because you finally, truly earned it. There are certain memories that return now. Aren't there evenings spent sitting outside as the sun went down, a radio playing softly in the background, the familiar sound of footsteps in a quiet house, the deep comfort of routines that required no announcement? These moments were never insignificant. They were the foundation of everything. At this stage of life, success no longer looks impressive, it looks peaceful. Success is waking up without an alarm clock blaring. Success is savoring a meal slowly, tasting every bite. Success is finishing the day without feeling emotionally exhausted. You begin to understand that happiness was never loud or flashy. It was always gentle. It was always quiet. Solitude starts to feel different now, too. It no longer signifies absence. It signifies presence. You find you actually enjoy sitting with your own thoughts. You allow memories to come and go like clouds passing in the sky. You stop judging your past self with such harsh eyes. You see it clearly now. You did the best you could with what you knew at the time. There is so much wisdom in realizing you don't need to fix your past in order to own it. Sometimes, nostalgia arrives with a comforting warmth. Other times, it comes with a quiet ache. But even that ache is a reminder that your life mattered, that moments were felt deeply, not just rushed through on the way to something else. Between 65 and 75, many people begin to protect their peace instinctively. They choose fewer conversations, but the ones they have are more meaningful. They listen more than they speak. They no longer feel the need to argue with strangers or chase external validation. They know who they are. Your body may slow down, but your awareness sharpens. Your voice may become quieter, but your presence in a room deepens. You come to realize that aging isn't about losing yourself. It's about shedding everything that was never essential to begin with. So if you're listening to this, just allow yourself to pause for a moment. Let the memories come without resistance. Let the silence sit beside you like an old friend. You are not fading away. You are integrating. You are becoming whole. If these words feel familiar, please know you are not alone. So many others feel this quiet shift. They simply don't have the words for it. or don't talk about it. It's a shared and spoken experience. Thank you for being here, for taking this time. And thank you for the life you have lived. May the years ahead be gentle, meaningful, deeply, authentically your own. Do you ever look in the mirror and wonder who that person is? The lines on their face tell stories you barely remember living. Your hair has a touch of silver you didn't ask for, and your eyes, well, they've seen a lot. Aging isn't just about what we see on the outside, is it? It's this profound, quiet shift happening on the inside. It's the way memories surface, unbidden, like old photographs found in a dusty attic. One day I was making a cup of tea, just like any other day, and suddenly, I wasn't in my kitchen anymore. I was a child again, sitting on my grandmother's porch, the smell of her rose garden thick in the summer air. I could almost feel the worn, splintery wood of the porch swing under my legs. The memory was so vivid, so complete, it was like stepping through a doorway in time. But then, just as quickly, it was gone, leaving behind a faint scent of nostalgia and a question. Where did that come from? This is what happens as we get older. Our memories stop being neat, organized files we can pull up at will. Instead, they become a kind of living mosaic, fragments of joy, flashes of sorrow, the echo of a forgotten laugh, the sting of an old regret. They swirl round us, sometimes comforting, sometimes confusing. We might struggle to remember what we had for breakfast yesterday, but we can recall the exact feeling of our first heartbreak with startling clarity. It's easy to get frustrated by this, to feel like we're losing our grip, that our minds are betraying us. We see forgetfulness as a failure. But what if we looked at it differently? What if our memory isn't failing, but evolving? What if it's shedding the unnecessary details, the boring commutes, the endless meetings, the trivial anxieties to make room for what truly matters? Maybe our brains are curating our own life story, highlighting the scenes that shaped us. It's a process of simplification, of distillation. Life gives us this enormous, messy manuscript, and as we age, we become its editor. We start to see the main themes, the recurring characters, the pivotal moments. The plot becomes clear, the parts that once seemed so important, the dramas that felt life or death, now just seem like minor subplots. Think about it. When you're young, life is all about collecting experiences, achievements, possessions, friends. You're building, expanding, always reaching for more. But as the years pass, there's a gentle, almost imperceptible shift. You start letting go, not just of physical things, but of old grudges, of unrealistic expectations, of the need to be right all the time. There's a peace that comes with this, a lightness. I used to be terrified of getting older, terrified of becoming irrelevant, of being forgotten. I think a lot of us feel that way. Society tells us that youth is everything. That value is tied to productivity, speed, and newness. But what if the greatest value lies in wisdom, in perspective, in the quiet strength that comes from having weathered life's storms? Ivy learned more from listening to my 80-year-old neighbor talk about his garden than from most books Ivy read. He doesn't talk about his career or his accomplishments. He talks about the patience it takes to grow a tomato from a tiny seed. He talks about the way the morning light hits his sunflowers. He's found a universe in his backyard. He's not collecting things anymore. He's appreciating them. He is present. This is the gift of aging, if we choose to accept it. It's an invitation to slow down, to stop chasing the next big thing and instead find joy in the small, simple moments. The warmth of the sun on your face, the taste of a perfectly ripe strawberry, the sound of a loved one's voice. These are the things that our curated memory holds onto. These are the gems that remain after all the noise has faded away. And what about meaning? We spend so much of our lives searching for our purpose, for some grand destiny. But maybe meaning isn't something we find. Maybe it's something we create, moment by moment. It's in the kindness we show to a stranger. It's in the story we tell a grandchild. It's in the forgiveness we offer ourselves for past mistakes. It's in the quiet courage it takes to face each new day, with all its uncertainties and all its beauty. I've begun to think of my life not as a straight line, but as a spiral. I keep revisiting the same places, the same feelings, the same lessons, but each time from a higher vantage point. I see things I couldn't see before. The anger I felt in my 20s now looks like fear. The heartbreak of my 30s now looks like a necessary redirection. The patterns become clear, of course. It's not all sunshine and roses. There is loss. There is grief. There is the physical reality of a body that doesn't cooperate the way it used to. It's okay to mourn that. It's important to acknowledge the pain and the challenges. But we don't have to let them define us. We can hold the sorrow in one hand and the joy in the other. They are both part of the human experience. They are both part of our story. Perhaps the final chapter of our lives isn't about looking back with regret, but about looking inward with acceptance. It's about making peace with the person we've become, flaws and all. It's about understanding that every scar, every laugh line, is a testament to a life fully lived. It's about finding contentment not in what we have, but in who we are. So the next time a random memory floats up from the depths, don't push it away. Welcome it. Sit with it for a moment. What is it trying to tell you? Maybe it's a reminder of a strength you forgot you had. Maybe it's an echo of a love that still warms you. Or maybe it's just a whisper from your younger self, saying, "Look how far we've come." Let's reframe aging. It's not an ending. It's a deepening. It's the time when we finally get to read the beautiful, complicated, and utterly unique story that is our own life. And maybe, just maybe, we'll find that the ending is the most meaningful part of all. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. As the years pass, something subtle happens to the way you listen to the world. You no longer listen to respond. You listen to understand. You listen to feel. Between 60 and 75, many people realize that silence is no longer empty. It has texture. It has meaning. It carries echoes of everything you've lived. You sit in a quiet room and suddenly remember afternoons that seemed endless, long days that were hard at the time, but now feel strangely precious. You didn't know then that you were building a lifetime. There were seasons when you gave more than you received. When you showed up even when you were tired. When strength was not a choice, but a requirement. You didn't call it resilience back then. You called it responsibility. And now, looking back, you see how much courage that took. At this stage in life, many people begin to forgive themselves for not knowing what they couldn't have known. You stop asking, "What if?" and start asking, "What did this teach me?" And the answer is almost always the same. It taught you endurance. It taught you patience. It taught you who you are when things are not easy. There is a particular nostalgia that surfaces around this age. Not loud, not dramatic, but gentle. The kind that arrives when you hear an old song, or smell something familiar, or pass a place that once held meaning. For a moment, your heart recognizes something your mind had forgotten. You remember the version of yourself that was hopeful, The version that believed time was endless. The version that didn't yet understand how quickly years can fold into decades. And instead of sadness, you feel gratitude because you lived those moments fully, even when they were imperfect. Many people between 65 and 75 discover that happiness no longer comes from accumulation, it comes from alignment. You feel content when your days match your values, when your peace matches your energy, when your surroundings reflect who you are now, not who you were expected to be. You notice how little you actually need. A calm morning, a familiar routine, a conversation that doesn't rush. You no longer crave validation from people who never truly knew you. You've outgrown that hunger. Your life speaks quietly, but clearly. There is also a tenderness that comes with this age, a deeper empathy. You understand pain without needing explanation. You recognize effort even when it goes unseen. You've learned that everyone is carrying something, and because of that, you become gentler with others and with yourself some days. Your body reminds you of time's passage, and instead of resisting it, you listen, you rest when needed. You slow down without guilt. You understand now that rest is not weakness. It is wisdom earned. You may notice that your relationship with time itself has changed. You no longer rush toward the future. You inhabit the present more fully. Moments feel heavier, not burdensome, but meaningful. A cup of tea, a window open to fresh air, the quiet satisfaction of having nowhere urgent to be. These are not small things anymore. They're everything. You may not say this out loud, but somewhere inside, you feel it. You survived versions of life that would have broken others, and you did it quietly. There is dignity in that. If you are around 70 now, you may feel like life has finally stopped testing you and started honoring you instead. Not with rewards, but with understanding. You know what matters. You know what doesn't. And you no longer confuse the two. The world may move faster than ever, but you have learned something priceless. You don't have to keep up to be whole. You are allowed to move at the speed of meaning. If this moment feels familiar, if it feels like it's describing something you rarely hear spoken aloud, then this space was made with you in mind. You are welcome to leave a reflection, a memory, a thought, even a single word, not for attention, but for connection. And if you feel drawn to stay, to return, to listen again, that quiet pull is enough reason. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the life you've lived. May the days ahead continue to unfold gently, with depth, warmth, and peace. Thought. If you are watching this at 60, 70, or somewhere in between, understand this. Your life is not fading. It is settling into meaning. You are not becoming invisible. You are becoming essential in quieter ways. Everything you've lived has value. Every sacrifice, every lesson, every moment you thought no one noticed. They all shaped a wisdom that cannot be rushed and cannot be taught. If this video made you pause, if it brought back a memory, or if it made you feel understood, I invite you to share one small thing in the comments. It could be a lesson you've learned, a moment you still carry with you, or simply the age you are today. Your words may be exactly what someone else needs to read. If you want more reflections like this, calm, honest, and made for this stage of life, consider subscribing and staying with us. This channel exists for those who have lived, felt deeply, and still want meaning, not noise. Thank you for spending this time here. Take care of yourself. Move gently, and remember, your story is still unfolding, quietly, beautifully, and with purpose. If this message spoke to you in any way, take a moment to leave a like. It helps this video reach others who may need to hear these words. Today, subscribe to the channel if you want more reflections like this, calm, meaningful, and made for this stage of life. And before you go, leave a comment, share a thought, a memory, or simply your age. Your words matter, and they may comfort someone who is quietly watching. Just like you. Thank you for being here.